Welcome to the explainer. Okay, we live in a world that is just drowning in data. So today, we're going to drop a blueprint, a way to turn all that digital chaos into some crystal clear insight. We're not just going to manage data, we are architecting an entire datascape. So let's just start with a number that should make any business leader sit up straight. This isn't just some hypothetical figure. According to Gartner, this is the very real average annual price tag for dealing with disconnected, untrustworthy data. It is literally the cost of not having a plan. And really, that brings us to the core challenge, doesn't it? How do you stop bleeding money and start turning that raw data feed into a high-value strategic weapon? Well, today, we're diving into one of the most powerful and honestly enduring answers out there, the Kimball methodology. All right, here's our game plan. First, we're going to diagnose what I'm calling the glitch in the system, the root problem we're solving. Then we'll unveil the master blueprint. After that, we'll get our hands dirty with the four-step construction process, apply it to a cool case study with a company called Omnicorp, and then finally, we'll power the whole system up and see the payoff. So first things first, we really have to understand the problem we're trying to solve. You see, for most organizations, it's not a lack of data. Oh no, it's a tangled, inefficient mess of data silos. And that mess costs a fortune in lost opportunities and just wasted effort. And look, this isn't just some tech problem. When your sales team and your finance team pull reports with different revenue numbers, poof, trust just evaporates. When your data scientists are spending like 80% of their time just cleaning data, well, innovation grinds to a halt. This chaos leads directly to bad strategic calls based on information that's just plain wrong. So to fix this glitch, we don't need more complexity. What we need is an elegant blueprint. And that is exactly what Ralph Kimball's dimensional modeling gives us. It's a design method that's built from the ground up for one thing: fast, intuitive analytics. What I love about this is the philosophy behind it. The entire model is built from the business user's point of view. It's not about how to store the data in the most efficient way for a machine. It's about how to make that data incredibly fast and intuitive for a person to ask questions of. The model really has two core components. First up, facts. The best way to think about these is like the glowing energy cores of your datascape. They're the numbers, the measurements, the raw metrics like sales revenue, quantity sold, or units shipped. They are the what that happened in a business event. And here's the other half of that equation, which just perfectly illustrates the point: the dimensions. These are like the holographic labels that give all those facts their meaning. So if the fact is 10 units sold, the dimensions answer, well, who bought them, what product was it, where was it sold, and when? They provide all that rich descriptive context. Now, you gotta understand, Kimball's approach is fundamentally different from other methods, like Inmon's. See, Inmon wants to build the entire massive enterprise data warehouse first. That's a top-down approach. Kimball is bottom-up. It prioritizes speed to value by tackling one piece, one data mart for a specific business process at a time. This delivers value way, way faster. So how do we actually build this information skyscraper? Well, it's not guesswork. The Kimball method gives us a really clear, repeatable four-step process. It's like the foundational code for our entire structure. This four-step process right here, this is the core engine of the Kimball method. And notice the flow. We always start with the business process, not the data source. Then we define the level of detail we need. Then we add the who, what, where context. And only at the very end do we layer in the numbers. This business-first approach is what makes the final models so incredibly powerful and relevant. Of these four steps, declaring the grain, well, it's arguably the most critical one. You have to decide with absolute precision what a single row in your fact table represents. If you get this wrong, the entire structure is unstable. For example, if Omnicorp decided their grain was total daily sales, they could never analyze which individual product was selling best. But by declaring the grain as one line item, they make sure every single piece of the model fits together perfectly. Okay, theory's great, but let's make this concrete. Imagine Omnicorp, right? A futuristic company that sells cybernetic enhancements. They are drowning in transaction logs, and they desperately need to analyze their sales data to figure out what the next big market trend is. So following our blueprint, the first thing we do is build the fact table. Remember, we declared our grain as one line item on an order.
So every single row you see here represents one single product purchase. And in it, we have our two numeric facts, quantity and total price. Simple as that. Okay, next we build the dimension tables. These are what surround our facts with that rich context. So here we're looking at the product dimension with details like name and category. That product key, that is the crucial link that connects this descriptive context back to our fact table. And you could imagine we'd build out similar linked tables for customer and date, creating this beautiful web of interconnected meaning. When you connect one central fact table to all these multiple dimension tables, what you get is this elegant structure called a star schema. And it is incredibly powerful. Why? Because it directly mirrors how people naturally ask business questions. Like, show me sales for Kuroshi Optics by city for last quarter. This structure is exactly what makes modern BI tools so fast and so intuitive, letting you slice and dice the data any way you want. And that capability, well, that's what gets us to the payoff. Okay, we've designed the blueprint, we've built the structure. Now for the fun part, the payoff. We're activating the system, we're seeing the results. What does all this architectural work actually get you? Well, one of the biggest advantages is just pure speed. Because Kimball's approach is iterative and bottom-up, you can deliver the first set of actionable reports and dashboards in just 3 to 6 months. Compare that to the year, maybe more, that a traditional top-down project can take, and that's a massive competitive advantage. And the return on that investment? It's staggering. An IDC study actually documented an average ROI of 401% over 3 years. This just proves that building a datascape isn't just some technical exercise, it's a high-return strategy. For Omnicorp, this means discovering their Kuroshi Optics are selling unexpectedly well to a new demographic in Neo-Kyoto. That lets them launch a targeted campaign that boosts revenue by 20% in 1 quarter. That's how you get to 401%. So by focusing on business processes and building this flexible, extensible datascape with the Kimball model, you've created way more than just a reporting system. You've built a strategic asset, something that can grow and evolve right alongside your business. So the real question isn't just about analyzing the past. It's whether your architecture is ready to answer the questions of tomorrow.